A very busy day for the Fox 2 Weather Authority. A tornado touchdown in the Chicago area, and that system is headed here. Good evening, everybody. I'm Rupra.
And I'm Taryn Asher. The National Weather Service has all of Metro Detroit under a tornado watch as well as a flood watch until the early morning hours. Meteorologist Stephanie Mead is tracking it all. What's the latest, Stephanie?
Yeah, so we do have that tornado watch in play alongside that flood watch. But the main concern right now are those storms that have had a history of producing tornadoes. And you saw that video coming out of the Chicagoland area. So right now we have southeastern portions of the state, including parts of the Detroit area, in that tornado watch until 3 a.m. this morning. Have a way to get alerts to your phone and have that NOAA radio on loud so you get those alerts and that they wake you up through the overnight hours if you do happen to fall asleep, because we're most likely looking at the window of midnight between 3 o'clock and when we'll see these storms move through. Right now we're tracking some heavier rain a bit closer to the Lansing area, additional showers, thunderstorms that are severe out near western portions of the state. Also a tornado warning embedded in that as well. Now this is all moving due east, so this will eventually impact us if it does manage to hold together. Otherwise, some stronger thunderstorms too out near the Lansing area, a little further north and west of the Detroit area. This is a massive system here, and it's very strong. It's producing and has a history of producing some severe weather back near the Chicagoland area. Timing on this by around 11 o'clock, just outside of Detroit. You notice some heavier thunderstorms up near portions of Saginaw as well. Should hit the metro area just a little bit after midnight tonight. So around 12:30, 1 o'clock. So we're looking at our threat for the possibility of some damaging wind, upwards of 60 miles per hour. Isolated tornado, we're not going to rule that out. Heavier rain as well. There might be some localized flooding with this system moving through. The good news, once that bypasses, we should begin to quiet down. This by 3:30, 4 o'clock tomorrow morning. Main threats again with the storm, potentially seeing some flooding, damaging wind in excess to 60 miles per hour, and we're underneath that tornado watch. So we're not going to isolate or at least rule out an isolated tornado. We'll have more details on this severe weather threat and what to expect through the end of the week coming up here in just a few minutes. Rup and Taryn?
Yes, Stephanie, we'll be checking in with you throughout the night. Thank you. Horrifying moments at the Ambassador Bridge today. A man working on it fell more than 100 feet into the river below.
It's amazing that the man survived and was talking to his rescuers. Fox News' Dave Kinchin is live for us, and Dave actually spoke to the people who saved him. And Dave, what do we know about why he fell?
Well, there's still a lot of things to uncover there. There's a major investigation going on. What we do know, this was a quiet afternoon. A lot of people out walking along the riverfront before those storms rolled in. People trying to get some of that outside air in before they go inside. Next thing you know, they look up and they see this man falling down 150 feet or so, and it turned into sheer chaos and panic. Tense moments of rescue captured on cell phone video moments after a man working on the Ambassador Bridge tumbles 150 feet into the Detroit River below.
The force of the impact had ripped most of his clothes off of him.
Meet mailboat captain Sam Buchanan.
His work boots were still on him and his pants were around his ankles, and he had his t-shirt on.
His job running the world's only floating post office turned into that of first responder. The JWS Scott was now a floating ambulance.
We scrambled out to our boat and we got aboard, myself and two of our crew members, and we, with the help of the folks in the park, they were pointing to where the man was.
Me and a couple other people was guiding him to where the body was. We saw him in the water bouncing up, and then they went straight to him, pulled him out the water.
We had him in our hands there probably about 2 to 3 minutes after he hit the water. So it was a pretty quick recovery, and once we got him on the boat, we got him back to our dock, and the Detroit Fire Department was here already. I mean, they were really fast on their response.
Buchanan and his crew got a good look at the man they just saved.
We were relieved that he could talk to us, but he was pretty out of it, and he kept asking us what happened to him, and we told him that he fell off the bridge.
They kept him warm with a blanket in case hypothermia set in. Turns out rescues like this is all part of his regular duty.
We train to do this all the time. We're in the business of delivering mail and packages, and we're also the pilot boat here in Detroit, so we deliver a lot of folks between the shore and the ships that go by, so we are constantly practicing man overboard drills.
Now, at last check, that worker is alert at the hospital. His name has not been released. Now, again, a lot of questions. We know there is an investigation ongoing. We did reach out to the folks at the Ambassador Bridge, and they said they released a statement that doesn't say a whole lot. It does say the Ambassador Bridge personnel immediately implemented response protocols, and the man was promptly retrieved from the Detroit River and taken to a local hospital for medical attention. Again, it's not clear what specific injuries he may be dealing with. You can only imagine with the force of hitting that water from 150 feet above. Certainly happy that he's, at this point, we understand, okay. Reporting live along the riverfront, Dave Kinchin, Fox 2 News.
And luckily, those men were able to get to him in time. But it was interesting. They said that he had his work boots on, his pants, and a T-shirt. But it sounds like there was no sign of any sort of safety harness or anything that may make us believe that he might have been wearing one.
Yeah, that's exactly one of the things we did ask the rescue crew. They said they were unable to see any kind of harness in the area. I don't know if that would even float, but they say they didn't see anything like that, so they certainly have questions about that as well.
Yeah, I'm sure Myosha does as well. Dave, more on this to come. We'll talk to you about that soon. Thank you.
Well, an hours-long standoff in Port Huron is finally over, but we're still working to find out exactly what prompted this huge police presence. There were two scenes, 13th and Pearl and 16th and Wells. Authorities have only said this is an active investigation, but say there is no active threat. We had calls into the Port Huron PD, and we'll let you know exactly what we learned from them. Also new tonight, a positive update about Detroit activist Malik Shabazz. He's still in critical condition, but he's off a respirator and responding to doctors. Shabazz is in stable condition at the hospital. He had a heart pump put in and also battled an infection after having a massive heart attack last month. His family says they're grateful for the support and the prayers from the community. We continue to wish him the very best.
Police say a man accused of murdering a woman and assaulting another at Target has confessed to both crimes. Andrew Hall faced a judge earlier today, facing 10 felony charges in connection to last Friday's attack outside the Troy Target store. Just days prior, Hall is accused of, days after, I should say, accused of beating and choking a woman to death after paying her for a sex act. Troy police say Hall admitted to both crimes. Hall still hasn't been charged for the Detroit murder.
I did hear that you indicated he has confessed to both of these matters, but he is presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. The defendant does have a history of conviction of escape from prison and numerous failures to appear in court out of Royal Oak, Southfield, Detroit, and the 32nd Circuit Court.
Hall has a history of failing to appear in court, as well as multiple convictions for domestic violence and unlawful entry. Hall was given a $5.5 million bond.
Well, convicted sex offender learned his fate today for raping a teen coworker at Jimmy John's. Today, Jerome Brown Pegas was sentenced to 10 to 15 years in prison for the 2020 assault on 17-year-old in Sterling Heights. Now, the teen had declined Pegas' sexual advances. He then became aggressive, raping her in a storage room, according to investigators. He was paroled in 2022 for a separate criminal sexual conduct out of Wayne County. He was found guilty in the Sterling Heights case back in January. Well, for rent, fancy cars for fancy occasions like proms and weddings, unless that Rolls Royce you rented happens to be in the shop on the day that you need it, which, as Fox News' Rob Olchek tells us, happens more than you think. Rob.
Yeah, Roop, these guys rent really, really expensive luxury cars, the kind most of us can only dream of owning. But maybe, just maybe, you can afford to rent one for a day. It's not exactly cheap, and you'll have to put a really big deposit down. But hey, you're going to be traveling in style in a Rolls Royce. Or maybe not. You might just get a plain old Cadillac. Next, I'll tell you why some angry customers feel they got rolled by the guy who rents the rolls.
Okay, Rob. Talk to you soon. Well, also still ahead, an 18-year-old with a bright future gunned down in Detroit. How his family is honoring his memory. Still ahead. Plus.
Tonight on The Edge.
A title or a position doesn't make him above the law.
A man elected to keep an eye on Detroit police conduct in some big trouble, allegedly. Was he caught, like, in the act, as they say?
From my information, when they came upon his vehicle, he was having a sex act conducted on him. By
a known prostitute. But of course, Detroit Board of Police Commissioner Brian Ferguson reportedly says it was all a misunderstanding. That's tonight on The Edge.
A Rolls Royce, a Bentley. I mean, who wouldn't want to arrive at a big event in a car like those?
Yeah, and you can for a price, actually. At least that's what one luxury car rental business claimed. But problem solver Rob Wolchek says some of the customers claim their dream rides turned out to be bad dreams, almost nightmares, Rob.
Yeah, some of these customers say you can shell out a big deposit to rent a super luxury car. But right before the big day comes, you may not get your fancy pants car, and you may not even get your deposit back.
I'm the most legit business you can see, as you see it right here.
Sam Czar is not a felon.
I'm not a felon.
But some customers of his luxury car rental and limo business say he won't give them back their deposits.
I gave you $6,000. I want it back.
Some say he tricks them out of the fancy pants cars they reserved right before their events.
We're sorry you can't get the Rolls Royce because it's been in an accident.
Some say he changes his company name to baffle them. How many times have you changed your name here?
Not your business.
Some say his employees run defense, protecting Sam.
He needs to call me today. If he don't call me today, then y'all go talk to my lawyer after that, and that's just that.
And when they do get to talk to Sam, some say he's just mean.
He starts yelling and screaming, and he wants to fist fight with me.
But whatever you say about Sam, don't say he's a felon, because he's not. You were convicted of 8 felonies.
Yeah, but now I am not. I'm not a felon.
And why he's not a felon might surprise you. Dewey got married last summer. He reserved a fancy ride as a surprise for his new wife.
So we booked a Rolls-Royce Phantom that they had available, and on the day before the actual wedding, they told me that the car got in an accident.
They offered to switch Dewey to a Cadillac Escalade, but come on, he didn't want that. So they promised to return his deposit back, $923. Here's a receipt on the Rolls that they didn't have for his wedding day, but he never got his deposit back. Dewey went to Dream Luxury Cars Southfield office several times, was always promised his deposit back, but Sam was never there to get it to him.
Looking like he don't have the intent of doing it.
No, we're gonna pay you. You didn't use the service, you're gonna get your money.
But he hasn't. JJ reserved a Bentley, put down $1,500 to hold it for last year's 4th of July weekend.
The morning of, she called me and told me that the vehicle had been in an accident. And so I had to pick between 3 other vehicles that were on the lot.
Boy, another accident, day before the event. She took a different car, this Corvette. She ended up paying the exact same amount as the Bentley. Her $1,500 deposit was supposed to be returned to her when she brought the car back. But one of Sam's employees told her,
I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. I don't have your money. Sam does, and he's out the country.
So she sued and won and hasn't been paid a dime. Patrice got the last-minute, it's been in an accident excuse when she rented a Rolls for her daughter's prom. She was offered an Escalade as a switch, but turned it down. She got her $1,500 deposit back, but says it wasn't easy.
And I was kind of teed off, because I'm like, if we gave you cash, you give us cash back.
Hafez reserved a Mercedes for his son's wedding, but last minute,
They said that Mercedes is not available at the shop for repairs. Then they give him a Corvette instead. Now the Corvette was empty of gas, no AC during summertime.
Hafez returned the Corvette after the wedding and says he mentioned to a worker they were disappointed in the replacement vehicle.
She called the owner, Sam. He came over with really angry face.
Hafez, who's about 5'7", was now confronted by Sam, who's 6'4".
He was ready to do damage to me.
I had to hold the phone way out here. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Amy says Sam went crazy on her as well over the phone.
He started screaming at me. You've been calling for 3 days. Leave us alone. Go to hell, and hung up on me.
Amy was complaining because she paid for a high-end package for her daughter's wedding.
There was no red carpet, no champagne, and the driver was in a Hawaiian shirt.
And she says the driver kept bothering the bride.
Where's my tip? Where's my tip? Where's my tip?
Amy tipped him $250 to shut him up. Tyrone says his driver was even worse.
When the Rolls Royce arrived, before we even left the hotel, he told me, before I leave this spot, I need $60 for the tip up front. So I gave it to him. Then we went, she took us to the venue. And my wife told me that he did the same thing to her.
The old double dip tip trick. Worse than that, the couple says they were stranded when the car they reserved never showed up after the wedding. They had to bum a ride from their venue in Shelby Township to Metro Airport.
We paid for services and had a contract in place, and this company just totally disregarded us as a customer.
Speaking of stranded, so you got abandoned on your wedding?
Bandit on my wedding night.
Nichelle and Wayman hired a party bus to carry the wedding party to their ceremony on Belle Isle. The bus showed up 2 hours late.
After the bus got there, he decided he was not pulling off until he seen me and got a $250 tip.
Nichelle says then the driver left the island early, and everyone was stranded.
I was supposed to be happy. I shouldn't have been standing in the middle of Belle Isle at the Dawson Museum crying on my wedding night because I don't have a ride home, and my grandmother is 87 years old, sitting on her walker tired, and she don't have a way home.
Nichelle went to the business to get her money back, but was always told Sam was out of town.
I want
he'll be back
today.
No, I'm sorry. I mean, it's not going to be today.
You need to call him and explain to him exactly what I said.
I'm gonna talk
and he needs to call me today. He don't have to absorb it, but I need a call from him today.
Finally, there's Sifian.
I have receipts from Dream Luxury and Luxury Limousine. Both same guy.
Sifian got 3 cars for his wedding. He says Sam demanded a $6,000 payment for the cars plus a $6,000 deposit. Sifian's cousin paid the deposit, but after the wedding, they say the deposit wasn't returned. Sifian texted, "Sam, this is haram," which means shameful in Arabic. "This is my life we're talking about. $6,000 is no joke. Call me." Sifian has waited nearly 3 years for the $6,000. His lawyer sent letters, which Sam ignored, and Sifian's been locked out every time he's gone to the business.
There's a buzzard, so you can't even get in without somebody buzzing you in from the front door, let alone get into the office.
So why luck out when I see Sam in the parking lot one day? Hi there, Sam.
How you doing?
Rob Walter from Fox 2. Are you running like a bait and switch with some of these cars?
Bait and switch? What do you mean bait and switch?
I explained to Sam about Dewey, Hafez, Patrice, and JJ, who all put deposits on super luxury cars, but were told at the last minute those cars weren't available. I show him the judgment JJ got for not returning her deposit, even though she took a Corvette when she'd reserved a Bentley. But Sam's not worried.
She sued their own company. We are Dream Luxury Car Rental. It used to be Detroit Luxury Car Rental. This is a Dream Luxury Car Rental. That's why I wouldn't go to court.
Okay, but it's the same company.
No, it's not the same company, sir.
Sam doesn't really seem concerned about this customer, so I mentioned some others.
I think you're mixing me up with somebody else, my friend.
I don't think so.
Well, okay.
They all say they talk to Sam.
Well, okay.
They come here and they talk to people and they say you got to talk to Sam.
I'm not the only Sam. And just for the record.
But this place, you've been here for how long? How long have you been here?
I've been here for about since 2013.
Okay. Sam denies switching out cars at the last minute for no reason. He denies not paying back deposits for no reason. He claims he doesn't need the money.
I am the largest luxury car rental in Metro Detroit. I'm the only crazy dude that put almost $10 million worth of cars in Detroit every night.
And speaking of crazy, he even denies getting crazy mad at customers like Hafez. He said you threatened him. He said you balled up your fists and threatened him and you were going to fight him. And
me?
Yeah.
Why would I do that?
I don't know. When I started investigating Sam had a big criminal record. He was involved in a fraud scheme. 10 years ago, a judge found him guilty on 7 counts of taking money under false pretenses, involving tens of thousands of dollars, and trying to pass a false vehicle title. 8 felonies that suddenly disappeared from his record.
I took advantage of Governor Whitmer, the law that she passed, that if somebody one time in his life do a mistake, whatever, I was a model, and you're not even allowed to talk about it.
Well, I can talk about it. And I will. The law signed in 2020 says no more than 2 felonies can be expunged. Sam was convicted of 8 felonies. But indeed, they appear to be off his record now. Sam says he's a changed man and wants to make his customers happy. And you'll give money back to the people if they deserve it.
100%.
Okay, all right.
And with interest.
But Sam's taken me for a ride. I gave Sam the phone numbers and details of all the customers mentioned in this story. That was 3 weeks ago. Not one has told me Sam paid them back or even apologized.
I'm not a felon.
Yeah, Sam, you may not be a felon, but you are in the Hall of Shame. Now, I got to tell you, I thought Sam might do the right thing. He did call a few of the customers, and hopes were high, but I spoke to all of them yesterday, and they say Sam didn't help any of them.